Alright, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be giving my MLB DraftKings picks for Friday, May 26th. We've got a full 15 game slate on for this Friday. We have a ton of options today. Pitching is really loaded. You have a ton of studs that you really want to pay up for. There are also some good mid-range pitchers that I like. And there's also some value pitchers that I really feel good about as well. So this slate is loaded with pitching options. There's also a Coors Field game on this slate, so there are definitely some bats that you can pay up for. So like I said, this slate, ton of options, ton of ways that you can attack this slate. Should be a pretty fun slate, guys. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so looking at pitcher, I think the way that I'm going to be attacking is I'm going to be paying up for one of these three guys, Max Scherzer, Jacob deGrom, and Chris Archer. I feel like one of these three guys, you got to pay up for them. They all get terrific matchups. The one that I'm looking at right now is Chris Archer at 11,400, getting a match against the Twins. Now, because I'm rostering Archer doesn't mean I don't like Scherzer or deGrom. I think both of them are terrific plays, but I don't really like their price tags over 12K, so I'm taking the little discount off of them to go with Archer. Archer has a ton of upside. He has similar upside to those guys. Archer's just a great strikeout pitcher. If you look in his last 4 games, he's posted over 10 strikeouts 3 times in his last 4 games. He's had 12, 6, 11, and 11 strikeouts in his last 4. So Archer, he's a great strikeout pitcher. If you look at splits this year versus righties, Minnesota is about league average when it comes to K rate. They strike out 21.4% of the time versus right-handed pitchers. And offensively, they're not that great either, only hitting a 261 average and a 339 WOBA. Most of the power bats on this team are right-handed, so that's going to favor Archer. So I love this spot for Chris Archer. I think he has a ton of strikeout upside here. He's going to be playing in Minnesota, and Minnesota's ballpark is a good ballpark for pitchers. So like I said, guys, I think Chris Archer is a stud pitcher that you want to pay up for today. He has so much strikeout upside. Even if he does give up a couple runs, he usually gets enough strikeouts to make up for it. So I love paying up for Chris Archer today at 11,400. I really like the discount that you're getting off of him, off of Scherzer and deGrom. I definitely think those two guys are in play, but I'm liking the discount off of them too, and going with Archer, who has similar upside to them. And then for my SP2, the guy that I'm looking at that I really like today is SP2. Is Aaron Nola at 7,700, getting a matchup against the Reds. I love this spot for Nola. He's going to be pitching at home, and he pitches a lot better at home than he does on the road. In one game this year at home, he has put up 20 DraftKings points in that one game at home. Then on the road through 3 games, he's only averaged 14 DraftKings points. So Nola does pitch better at home, and Aaron Nola is actually a pretty good pitcher. He's only pitched 4 times this year, and in those 4 games against Washington, he posted 20 DraftKings points. Pitched against them again, had 17 DraftKings points. Kind of struggled against the Mets, only had 4 DraftKings points, and then against Pittsburgh had 19. So Aaron Nola is definitely a consistent pitcher, and this is also a pretty good matchup. If you look at the splits versus righties, the Reds don't really strike out a lot versus righties. They're only striking out 20.3% of the time versus right-handed pitchers. But offensively, they're not that great. They're about league average versus righties, hitting a 266 average and a 333 WOBA. So I love this spot for Nola. I think he's really cheap at just 7,700. He's probably going to be the chalk SP2 option today with that price tag. And given the matchup, I'm really liking him as my SP2. When you pair him with Archer, that leaves you over 3,800 remaining per player, which is pretty good. You can find a couple value plays, and you can definitely use that and build around it. So I like going with Chris Archer as my SP1, and then Aaron Nola as my SP2 today. And then for my 3 other hitters, first off at catcher, there's a value play that I'm going to be looking at here. That's Tony Walters at just 3,200, playing at home today in Coors Field. I love Walters anytime he's playing against a right-handed pitcher, and especially when he's playing in Coors. He's going up against Carlos Martinez, and Martinez is definitely a solid pitcher, but even some of the best pitchers in the world will struggle at Coors. We've seen Kershaw. He has definitely struggled at Coors sometimes this year. So I definitely think the Rockies are going to be able to get to Martinez. So I like Tony Walters today as a value play that you can target in that Coors Field game. He is just 3,200, and that is very cheap. When you plug him in your lineups, that gives you some extra salary to pay up for better bats. And Walters is actually a pretty good hitter. If you look at his last 4 games, he's put up 6, 9, 6, and 7 DraftKings points, so he has been really consistent. He's hitting a 301 average this year, which is very solid. Doesn't have any home runs, doesn't really have much power. But Walters is definitely consistent when it comes to putting the ball in play and getting you some DraftKings points. And playing at home in Coors, that is the best ballpark for hitters. So I love Tony Walters today as a value play that you can target. If you look at his splits, he does play a lot better at home, obviously, since playing in Coors. Averages 8 DraftKings points at home and only 4.9 on the road. So anytime Tony Walters is at Coors going up against the righty, he's a value play that I'm going to be targeting at catcher. And then for my other two hitters, I'm going to be looking at outfield here. First off, I'm going to be targeting Nick Markakis, 3,300, getting a match against Matt Cain. Love this spot for Markakis. Matt Cain is a terrible pitcher, and Nick Markakis hits righties very well. He's going to be going up against a bad righty today, so I love this spot for him at just 3,300. The only thing I don't like is the ballpark. San Francisco's ballpark is one of the most pitcher-friendly parks, but I still like Markakis today just based off the price tag and the matchup. Markakis has actually been pretty consistent as of late as well. In his last two games, he's put up 14 and 9 DraftKings points, so he's starting to heat up. So I like this spot for Markakis. He has been hitting the ball pretty well as of late. He's starting to heat up. So he's going to be an outfield value play that I'm looking at today at just 3,300, getting a match against Matt Cain. And then for my final play at outfield, I'm going to be looking at a guy that I mentioned yesterday, and that's Gregor Blanco at just 3,200, getting a match against Junior Guerrera. I love Blanco today if he is going to be in the starting lineup. Since a righty is on the mound and the Diamondbacks do platoon him, he might be in the lineup today. I did mention him in yesterday's video, and he's having a very solid game right now. So I like Gregor Blanco again today if he's in the starting lineup, like I said. Given the matchup against Junior Guerra, Guerra is not a terrible pitcher, but he's definitely not somebody that you want to be scared of. So I like Gregor Blanco as a value play that you can target. He's going to be playing in Milwaukee. Great ballpark for hitters. And Blanco, he has a ton of upside. If he gets on base, he will steal. He does have a little bit of power as well. He did hit a home run tonight, so I like Gregor Blanco today at just 3,200. If he's in the starting lineup and leading off, he's going to be another value play that I'm looking at outfield today. And yeah, so those are my top 5 plays for tonight, guys. I went with Chris Archer, Aaron Nola, Tony Walters, Nick Markakis, and Gregor Blanco. Now I'm going to give you guys some other players that you can roster at each position. So get out a pen and a paper, or try and remember some of these guys, write them down. So other pitchers that I like, besides the guys that I gave in my top 5 plays. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I definitely like paying up for Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom. I think both of them are in great spots, so you can definitely consider them if you're paying up for pitcher. If you can fit Scherzer and Archer in as your 2 pitchers, that's a great combo, but that is you're spending a ton of salary if you do that, so you're really going to be scrapping the barrel for your hitters. But if you can go Scherzer and Archer and you find some value hitters that you really like, I definitely like that combo. Other pitchers I like at the mid-range, I definitely like Eduardo Rodriguez at the mid-range, and I also like Mike Clevenger. And then, like I said, I like Aaron Nola as well as a guy you can target, a cheaper pitcher. Some catchers that I like today. I like Buster Posey. I like Matt Wieters. I like Sandy Leone. And then, like I said, I like Tony Walters for value. First base, if you're paying up, I love Matt Carpenter today, playing in course. He's only like 4,600. That is very cheap. He's going to get in the platoon advantage against Cincinnati, so you can definitely target Matt Carpenter at first base. I like Chris Davis at first base at the mid-range, and if you need a value play, I like Lucas Duda. Second base, if you want to pay up, I like Daniel Murphy. If you're attacking the mid-range at second base, I like Jason Kipnis. And then if you need a value play, I like Neil Walker. Third base, if you're paying up, I definitely think you want to try and get Nolan Arenado in today. He's under 5K. He's going to be playing at home in course. Always consider Arenado anytime he is at home. Mid-range at third base, I like Manny Machado. And if you need a value play at third base, I like Evan Longoria. Shortstop, if you want to pay up here, I love Aledmys Diaz playing in course. He's only like 4,400, which is very cheap playing in course, so I like him if you want to pay up. One guy that caught my eyes just being way too cheap is Carlos Correa. Carlos Correa is only 4,100 on DraftKings today. He's getting a really good match against Kevin Gausman. Carlos Correa looks like a pretty good chalky shortstop option that you can target today. I definitely think he is way too cheap at 4,100. So I like Carlos Correa at the mid-range at shortstop. And then if you need a value play at shortstop, I like Freddie Galvis. Outfield, if you want to pay up, I love Charlie Blackmon at home playing in cores. I think he's an outfielder you want to try and get into your lineups. Also like Carlos Gonzalez as well, playing at home in cores. Cargo's really started to heat up lately. He's going to be getting the platoon against Martinez, so I like paying up for Cargo. Also like paying up for Dexter Fowler as well. Definitely think you're going to want to stack this cores game, guys. Try and get some exposure to it. I like Tony Walters as my cheap exposure to that game, but you definitely want to try and pay up for some of the better bats in that game as well. And then if you need another value play besides the 2 value outfitters that I gave, also like Josh Reddick as a value play you can target at outfield. And yeah, so those are some other picks that I like at each position. You guys can use my top 5 plays and use some of the picks that I gave. And you guys can build a lineup out of that. Or if you guys want to get my lineups, be sure to follow me on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. I do post how my lineups do on Twitter. Even if I win or lose, I show you guys the full lineups that I gave out. So be sure to hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT if you are interested in getting lineups. Or if you just want to see how my lineups are doing, you can follow me on Twitter as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed. If you never want to miss out on any videos, please be sure to turn on post notifications. Just click the bell icon next to my YouTube name, and that'll notify you every time I upload. So if you never want to miss out on any videos, please be sure to do that, guys. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Good luck tonight, guys. Peace.
I've been making first mistakes twice. All this bad advice. This crazy thing called life. In the days at night, I think about what could have been and why it didn't work out right. Was it me or her? Was it left